As you know, the belt method's different because it's less risky, haven't had any ad accounts shut down. It's better reaching, quick to implement, less expensive. But here's the thing. When I say the direct marketing days are over, they're not over for people like Mike because he understands the process. So when I say that the direct response marketing days are over, that's because I really have to put a lot of content out there because I don't have the skills that I want to start going over and asking Mike the questions on. When people miss the idea creation and really researching that next step, all you're doing is just throwing gasoline on a fire that is unequivocally just out of control. So let's go ahead and take a look at this customer journey. Now, a lot of people are looking for this, but this is what Mike does. And this is what I want to ask questions about, to where it's like most people can't figure out, how do I tell the story in a sequence where it's not guaranteed that every time that someone listens to the story that they're going to buy, but at the tune of $60 million over multiple companies, I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of money there. So what ends up happening with a lot of advertisers, they try to run a ton of different ads to make up for the lack of copy or creative or research or, well, some of these attributes and traits that has led Mike to do what he's doing today. So as many as you know, a lot of people like to run leads, and this is something that Mike has built his business on for a long time. In my presentation, I talk about overall influence for these leads because it can get really expensive. The thing is this is where I look at it and I'm, man, if you collect a lot of emails, but if they don't open emails, if they don't click emails, man, this can get really expensive. Yes, but if you're writing good copy, this is stuff that Mike has been doing for years. The leads that you get in, even if the cost is a little more expensive, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but oh my goodness, your odds of really making this work are astronomical. So one thing I go over the presentation is, hey, we got to have a rule of 7. Actually, if you look at Mike's follow-up points, one of the things that he talks about in the webinar is he's not all over Facebook unless I'm running ads. He's not posting on all these different other social media sites. So Mike doesn't have, hey, I have 100 different contact points. Mike literally has 7 or less, meaning he's building a very quick relationship because of the offer, because of the copy. Well, what a lot of us do is a lot of us just kind of think of, oh my goodness, there's all these digital touch points we want to hit. I want to help you with that with the belt, all the different touch points. But if we can really get back actually to the same old thinking of how can we make copy really good. I remember one thing that Mike had told me a long time ago is copy's never boring. It's never too long. It's just boring. So let's take some of those old thinking ideas. Let's kind of put this into new. I want to form what Mike would do and put this into automation. So again, these are some of my personal questions that I've always wanted to ask, and I want to get some of your feedback as well too. So I do want to ask Mike, and the same idea creation is what would Mike do? But Nick, before we jump into that, I'm really curious. The very first poll that we have, if you wouldn't mind pulling that up, the very first polls, I'm curious who's on the phone right now, is if you could, I've actually never officially launched, I don't think I've launched a poll on here for a while. Can you launch the first one, which talks about level of experience, meaning never run an ad, spend under $1,000. Perfect. Thank you. Host and panelists can't vote. Well, that's too bad. So I'm kind of curious. Go ahead and click on what your skill level is. Again, there is no judgment here whatsoever. But as I'm asking the questions and as Mike is responding, we want to make sure that we're in line with the level that you're kind of use at right now, right? So is that are you a beginner, advanced, intermediate? You spent thousands of dollars, plus you've purchased courses. Have you just spent a lot of money trying to figure it out? Everyone is agency owner or someone who's an absolutely ad genius. We'll leave that up here for just another moment. Again, this is a poll that we'd have inside of our free group. By the way, as a little inside access, if you're not inside of our free group, jump inside of our free group. You'll see how this whole persuasion thing starts to work, but polling people and segmenting out is one of the greatest things you can do. So let's go ahead and Nick, we'll close that poll in the next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Close that poll if you don't mind. Thank you. If you don't mind showing the results, I think there's a button that hits the results. Beginner, spend $100,000. Great. Got it. A little bit of everything, which this is going to be perfect for people. Okay, great. Now, Nick, would you mind asking the polling question about the idea creation? Like, where's their product at? Like, hey, I have an idea, but I don't have a product, or I have a product, but I haven't sold anything yet. If you want what I'm putting up there. So many times, and not, this is no judgment, I will talk to someone who's running ads, they're failing at ads, and I'll ask, I'll say, okay, well, how did you decide to get in the makeup business? I like makeup. Great, what else? I found some stuff from China, I started selling it, and well, the idea creation is huge. So I'm kind of curious, where are you at in your overall idea creation? If you're seeing the replay, you're not going to see these, but for some reason, product visibility, let me see, remove this, there we go. I don't have a product or service. I'm just starting out, like an idea, not a problem. I have a product or service, but nothing created yet. You've created something. You've created and sold it, and you're looking to start with ads, or you want to scale with ads because you're already selling something, or you're really looking, for someone else to just do it all. We'll close that out in just a second. Actually, it's Nick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll close that one out. If you don't mind sharing the results, kind of find out where we're at. All right, kind of all over the place, which is, again, great. Man, I love these diversified trainings. Okay, well, great. We're going to save that other one here for just a couple of minutes, which is great. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to jump right on into this. So here's the process most marketers miss before the ad, right here, in choosing the target market. What we end up doing as advertisers is, well, let's just throw a whole bunch of gasoline on it and see what happens next. So, well, that's great. I got the animation backwards. Mr. Mike Dillard, I would love to ask you a couple of questions if you don't mind. And it is completely up to you if you would like to show your camera or not. I got a face for radio, but if you're going to,
I think mine is showing. Yeah, should be showing.
Great.
I apologize if it's getting noisy outside. The yard men are right outside my window, so I hope you guys are not picking that up.
This is why we do this at the house. And by the way, I can't hear anything in the backside.
Okay.
So this is great. So I turned my animation around. Sometimes that's what happens with PowerPoint. So you've created a bunch of big companies. Now, I remember I was there one night when you created the birth of Elevation Group, which is just amazing just to watch. But are you laying in bed one night? You have a big idea? Are you watching the news? Do you spend an hour every day thinking about what you want to do next? I mean, you've created some pretty successful companies.
It's always started with my own personal problems. And so the inspiration for the Elevation Group started out of two primary reasons. The first was that I'd made a lot of money in my first business and I had no idea what to do with it. And I realized that I was throwing away a massive opportunity to invest and grow that money. And so that was motivation number one. Motivation number two was that really was taking place around the same time that the market crash of 2008 happened. And so I have this question, what do I do with my money? And then the market crashes and I watch everybody lose half their money. And I'm like, okay, now I know what not to do, but that still doesn't answer the question of what should I do at this point moving forward. And so my thought around that stuff is if I have this problem, that means there's usually a lot of other people that have this challenge as well. So all of my companies have started with that premise. What's my biggest issue that I need to overcome in my life or figure out? And a lot of times there isn't a solution that provides what I'm looking for. There were a lot of financial education newsletters out there, but they were all about trading stocks. I had zero interest in trading stocks. So I couldn't find what I needed. I couldn't find the solution that I wished to exist that I could pay for. So I ended up creating it. And that's what's happened in all of my businesses. So that's usually the primary moment of inspiration. And if I'm going to push that forward through to today, one of the big challenges out there that I see in the world is that real businesses don't understand what we take for granted and know here in internet marketing land. And a great example of this is Donald Miller's story brand, right? So if you haven't heard of Donald Miller and building a story brand, great podcast, great book.
Mike, your audio just cut out. Unless Nick, that's just me.
Okay, is it back now?
No, it's on my end too.
So I think, Mike, maybe you have like a Bluetooth connected somewhere else?
No, maybe just a loose cable.